Ciao, what's up everybody? Alright, we are at home again today as there is a bit of rain. Actually, it's like a gigantic rain. I had no idea that the What's It Like Being Married to a Vietnamese Woman video would do so well. It had 2,000 views in 5 hours. One of the biggest videos I've ever done. I don't know how to track for the long term, but to kick on to that, we're going to do a companion video of what's the Viet family culture like. I want to kind of expand more on that because I was explaining that when you marry the girl, you marry her family here. And you certainly do. So we're going to expand on that more. And I'm going to give you some tips and tricks if you are finding yourself in a relationship and you're not too sure about what you think. You definitely want to meet the family pretty quickly if you know you're pretty serious with the girl. You want to make sure you get along with them. You want to make sure the dad's cool, the mom's cool, or if she has brothers and sisters, make sure they're cool as well. Because these people are going to be in your life all the time. Now, to preference, I'm not a family guy back home. Never really was. I was close to my sister, close to my mom. That's really it. My grandma, a couple other people, but I'm not a real family guy. Once I was 16 and able to drive, I wasn't a guy that was like hanging out at Christmas for 6 hours. I'd pop in for a half hour, stuff like that. It's just not my wheelhouse. My dad was a bit like this too, so probably makes sense that that's why I'm like that. So it is definitely a adjustment to get thrown into a full-on family life. Typically, you'll see the family at least once a month, sometimes more frequently. Often on Sundays, you'll go have coffee with the family, which is a long coffee. It's like 2 to 5 hours. This isn't just a casual coffee and hang out. It's casual. Like, I take the laptop now. I take headphones. I'm editing videos. I'm playing games on my emulator on my phone. I'm typically keeping myself busy because there's so much talk of wanting a child right now. And it is a bit annoying, if I'm going to be frank with you. I'm not a big fan of that. It's not your business if we're going to have a child. And you shouldn't put me on any kind of timeline or winning my wife. She's not ready yet either, so typically the way I avoid that now is if we are at a family function, there's always beer involved, there's always heavy drinking. As soon as the dad gets pretty drunk, it's time for us to go home. So I've kind of maneuvered our way out of that. It's only really when she goes home solo or she goes to coffee without me do they kind of hammer down on the baby thing. And that's really the only complaint I have. I have not given any money to her family, and I'm not going to. I'm fat and I'm broke. Like, it says it in my YouTube handle. I'm not a rich guy by any means. I wouldn't even be able to give money even if I wanted to, and I probably wouldn't even if I had money because that's not the way I operate. If you find yourself in a situation where a girl is asking for money right away when you first meet her and asking for money for her family, that's going to be a habitual thing. That's never going to go away. That's not the right way to lead a relationship unless you have a lot of money to spare and you choose to drop it on that kind of stuff. And if you are, into, adjust this a little bit. And if you're into, doing that type of thing. But just know that if they're already asking that early on in the relationship, that's going to be a habitual thing, most likely. Money is going to be coming into question all the time with stuff like that. We have our own lives, we have our own apartment and stuff, so her family doesn't ask for money. Everybody seems to be does pretty well. Her brothers make good money, etc., etc. The dad works now too. There is no more family restaurant. That restaurant went under fairly quickly because the location was terrible and the fourth wave of COVID happened. So for people asking about that, the restaurant doesn't exist anymore. Ba's got a new job. So as far as filming videos with the family, we are going to do one soon within the month. We'll probably have a Barbie at the grounds here at Vin Homes, seeing as we haven't had one in a little bit. So this time I'm not going to just eat Vietnamese food. We're definitely going to get a couple steaks or some burgers. I'm going to make some burgers or something. I want to have not seafood. They tend to go pretty heavy on the seafood on those barbecues. I don't mind a prawn every now and then, but I don't really like prawns that much. I prefer, if I am going to eat seafood, I prefer crab or lobster. I mean, to be honest with you. And the slipper lobster was very delicious. And I like the mantis as far as shrimp go. The mantis shrimp is my favorite shrimp here. And I like it in the garlic, you know, the real heavy, heavy garlic. But yeah, you're definitely marrying the family. And during Tet, which is their major holiday here, you're going to spend a huge chunk of time at Tet. Now, the way I typically do Tet now is I do 2 to 3 days of Tet with them, and then Winnie can go there and spend the rest of her Tet there. 2 to 3 days is max for me. You know, like I said, it's not really my thing. And you don't have to be forced into going every time. You know, kind of stand your ground. You don't want to get pushed around into doing stuff, especially if you don't want to do it. And I'm pretty polite about it, but, you know, enough is enough after 2 or 3 days. You know, that's a lot of family time and hanging out. What more can we do? I'm not a big sit around and like play cards type of guy. I have too much ADD for that shit. So for me, I tend to, you know, 2 to 3 days. But yeah, you're going to be heavily involved in the family. You know, a couple people are saying the family is priority over you. I would almost tend to agree with that. I mean, I think as the relationship grows longer, that probably transitions from family number one to then you guys become number one, which is kind of what's happening with us. So I think that's just a time thing. But definitely at first, it's going to seem like the family is more important than you, essentially. And but as I said, with time, I think that changes greatly. I think it starts to float in the direction of you and your guys' relationship. Like I said, kids are not on our horizon anytime soon. Sure, if something accidentally happens, I wouldn't be like pissed off about it. But yeah, it's just not in our stack of cards anytime soon. I think maybe in a couple years probably is where we're going to be at with that kind of stuff. I want to have a more stable income. And I want to be able to purchase something, a condo or probably a condo. I'm more interested in purchasing a condo. Now, they are trying to roll out a lease for all Vietnamese citizens on land, too, now. Not just foreigners. They're pitching the idea, but the Vietnamese do not like it, so that's not going very well at all. But the idea has been floated out there. I think it's a 70-year lease, maybe 60 or 55, I forget. But it's still a lease. On even a purchase of land. So I don't think they'll do that. I think they'll keep it the way it is. Just the foreigners have to deal with that stuff. And a lot of other countries actually do that too. That's not just a Vietnam thing for foreigners. But the family culture is it's interesting. You know, they're really tight knit. They all hang out and they all talk all the time. You know, they're text messaging. You know, Winnie's close with everyone in her immediate family. So I don't have a problem with it, whatever makes her happy. As long as I'm not like forced to do stuff, and it's pretty hard to force me to do stuff anyways, I'm pretty content. And yeah, if she wants me to go have a coffee with him every couple weeks or once a month, I'm totally cool with that. Having a barbecue and a dinner family night every couple months, also cool with that. I got no problem doing that. But if she was asking me to hang out like every week with her family, nah, I'm not doing that. That's just not who I am. I like my own time, and I work all the time. You know, I work every day. There's not a day where I don't shoot videos and multiple videos. There's not literally one single day where I don't shoot footage or go live or I'm not working out. I work out a lot. I'm a fat guy still, but I've lost a considerable amount of weight since the beginning of the year. 120 kgs down to around 94 kgs, so not that bad at all. I'm getting soon to where I think I'm almost out of obese. Now I'm just fat. So I'm happy with the results. But I think, you know, I gotta say it's not as big as a deal as I thought. Now, I know other expats that are married and they've got the whole family in their house, and there's no way I could do that. You need to set your boundaries on that right away. When knows I would never be like, oh, let's have your family come live with us. This is not going to happen ever. That is not something I would ever do. I have no desire to do that. I think it's a relationship killer on top of it. Vietnamese do it. It's very common. Like, her whole family lives in one house. Brother. Now it's just her brother and his girlfriend, and the other brother with the kid lives at the wife's house with the kid. So, and that's because the wife's mom helps out with the kid. That's like also Vietnamese tradition. So yeah, more to go with the culture thing. When you have a baby, the mom supposedly helps a lot with the baby, which I wouldn't want. That's why I don't want to have a baby right now. That's what her family says, because they know I'm traveling and I'm going to be world traveling soon enough, all over. I'm never going to be home. Well, I'll be home, but not for like, long periods of time. So, and what kind of sense would it make for me to have a child right now if I can't be here for the child and hang out with the child? And her parents' answer was, well, I'll just have mom watch it. Just have her mom watch it. I'm like, I don't want to do that. But that is very popular in the Viet culture to do that. But again, that's not the way I want to do things. Now, if we did have a kid, people ask me all the time if I would have my children, take them back to America and grow them up in American school system. Absolutely not. If we have a child here, they're going to a Vietnamese public school, none of this private bullshit. I didn't go to a private school, and my kids sure as hell ain't going to a private school. I don't care if I'm a millionaire by the time I have a kid. I'm not putting my kid in a private school. You learn valuable lessons being in a public, regular school. And I'm not shitting on private school. I'm sure there's some of you out here that went to private school. I know quite a few people that went to private school growing up. Usually it was Catholic private schools back from where I was from. But, yeah, I would have them go through the Vietnamese public school, man, with all the other Vietnamese kids. And Vietnamese would be the number one language, and I would talk to it in English as it's coming up. So English would probably be its number two. And then when it wants to go to college, if it does want to go to college, it can choose whatever college it wants to go to. I'm not going to push it to go anywhere, to any specific college. If it's happy without doing college altogether and going and doing trade and certificates like I did, that's great. Go do that. I was very lucky when I got all of my computer certifications. It was so long ago that there's no expiration and there is no renewal of the certification after a certain set period of time, which is now all of them need renewal like every 2 to 3 years, if I remember correctly. So yeah, it would be up to the child's choice, of course. I would be stoked if it like wanted to do kart racing when it was a kid and then pursue some kind of race driving career or stuff like that. If it wanted to also study, Japanese or Korean after it's at some point in time, and maybe want to go overseas and study at a Korean college or a Japanese college, I'd be cool with that too. Like wherever, Singapore, wherever, Australia, America, wherever my child wants to go and go do, I'll just support that as best I can. I'm not going to force in any kind of way or suggest things. It's going to be up to him or her, their choice. Yeah. Korean culture is just not Korean. Wait, what was I just said? Vietnamese culture is very much about family. It's very tight-knit families. There's massive communication throughout the whole family all the time. There's get-togethers a lot. There are long get-togethers. So if you're not a family guy, prepare for that. I don't receive any kickback from anyone. I get along with everybody in her family, all the uncles, all the cousins, all that shit. I get along with everybody in her family. So for me, I guess I got pretty lucky with that she has a pretty good family. I even get along with mom and dad. I get along with literally everybody in the family. Her two brothers, like, we all get along very well. So I kind of lucked out on that front of the deal. And I'm happy that Wynn doesn't try to push us to, like, hang out every single week with her family. I'm happy seeing them once every month or once every 2 months. That's absolutely acceptable with me, and it's acceptable with her. So, sometimes it's more frequently. It depends on what's going on. If it's around the holidays, all this kind of stuff. Tet is the real big holiday. Birthdays, we usually get together and have the birthday there for whoever's birthday it is in the family. But all in all, it's not a bad gig. I mean, I'm not upset about it at all. I don't feel any pressure to really do anything. My wife is very loving, and she puts up with my crazy ass, so she's a winner in my book for just putting up with me. I'm not the easiest guy in the world, as you guys probably all know. So I give her 5 gold stars just for that. And her family also is cool too, I don't think I've ever been in a fight with anyone in her family that I can think of. So yeah, it's a win-win-win. What you need to do is you need to vet correctly. You need to check all these things, and you need to be okay if she's asking for money right away. That's going to be a lifelong thing. I mean, as soon as the money stops coming, she's probably going to stop coming. So just know that yeah, you're signing up for what you get, you know. If you do want to put yourself in a situation where you got a young girl and you're paying for all the stuff, you know, and you're happy with that, happy to have the hot arm candy, and she does treat you well, go ahead. I have no shame in that. Like I said, we talked about it in the sugar baby, sugar mama, sugar daddy thing. Whatever you're into, man. I don't know what I would do if I'm 50 and I want a hot 25-year-old chick. I'm not in that position, so I have zero idea how it would actually be. So you just got to get out there, you know. It's not as big of a deal as people like to make it seem. Some people have some absolute horror stories about their Vietnamese ex-wife and the family, and I would almost say to them that they didn't, you know, check into things more properly. If there would have been a bunch of red flags when I met Wynn's family, it would have definitely been a serious thing to consider. You know, I would have been put into the deciding factor. So fortunately, it's not. They're a great family. My wife's great. Her brothers are great. Mom and dad are great. You know, so I think it's a win-win. Like I said, do your homework, boys and girls. If this is a girl that's going to date a Viet guy, it's going to be the same way, flipped around. So I thank you guys for watching. I hope you found this video helpful as well and useful. If you are with a Vietnamese woman, specifically in Saigon, and you have anything to add, drop it in the comments. That would be awesome. The more we get commenting about this, the more chances it has to be seen by more people. So if you have anything to add, just drop it in the comments. If you did like the video and this is your first time seeing me, I am a world traveler. I do all kinds of vlogs on all different things. I'm not just a food eating guy. I'm not just an adventuring guy. I am literally daily vlogging, information, food, travel, everything. Pretty much anything and everything you can think about that can be filmed, I film it. So I'm not niched into one thing. So subscribe to the channel if you did like it. If not, no worries, keep it moving. If you didn't like the video, just hit do not recommend this channel, leave a thumbs down, and keep it moving. Keep her moving. Keep her moving, eh? Alright guys, thanks for watching. Stay frosty. See you on the next one. Peace out.